Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday the 4th, one day before Cinco de Mayo, and you're live with Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy. And for those who don't know, I am Teddy. Lunch Conversations is brought to you by the Elder Law Firm. The Elder Law Firm helps you to keep your commitments to the ones that you love. If you need help or want to have conversations or discover ideas about how to help those you care about with estate or elder care planning, look at the Elder Law Firm in Greensboro, North Carolina. Their phone number is 336-396-4551. Thanks a lot for joining us today. I appreciate everybody being here. And for those who, again, don't know, I'm Teddy Burriss, and Randy Wooden is out of commission today. He does this once a month, and so he's not here. So Mr. Mike Brock has so kindly offered to fill in as a sub co-host. And I'll get him to introduce himself to the group. Mike, introduce yourself to our audience.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm not as good looking as Randy, but I'll be his stand-in today. I actually used to live in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. I now live in Atlanta, and my background is automotive and electronics, and I'm here to help support the team. And I've been currently active in a job search myself, and I've also helped others in job searches. And I could almost be a recruiter, but anyway, glad to be with you guys today, and I'll be try to answer your questions when you type them into the chat box.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Mike's going to monitor the chat and monitor the group. If you get unruly, he'll take care of you. Hey, for those who don't know me, I'm Teddy Burriss. I'm a LinkedIn sales navigator, strategist, trainer, and coach. I work for a company called Burriss Consulting, which means I work for the lady I've been married to for 44 years. I was a couple weeks ago. Really enjoy doing that work, but twice a week, Randy and I get together. We have a little 15-minute ad show on Mondays, and then we do this every Wednesday, and we bring really cool people to the show because I know you're not here to see me, and I know you're not here to see Mike. You are here to hear the conversation that our special guest brings to us. Today, our special guest is Jen Morris, and Jen is out of Atlanta, Georgia area. She's an executive recruiter who has become a job search coach and the owner of careerinspo.com. She's coached thousands of ops and salespeople on their way to get as a standout, on their way to get noticed, on their way to find that next great job. Jen's mission, listen to these words, is to inspire and empower today's corporate leaders to take control of their career journey. Jen, did I say that about right?
You said it perfectly. Thank you. What an awesome intro.
Take it another level and tell the folks who you are as a human.
Yeah. So as you said, I live in Atlanta. I just moved here within the last year. So I'm actually a West Coast girl, lived in California for about 25 years, raised my kids there, and started this business a few years back in 2018, after years of being in recruitment and friends coming to me for help. And one day I'm like, oh, I need to start a business. What should I do? And it took me forever. Not really. It took me some time, though, to realize, oh, this is actually a business idea. So launched the business in 2018 and do it full time. Never looked back. Love it. Yeah, so that's me.
Real cool. Real cool. So appreciate all of our all of our audience that shows up on a regular basis. We get a group of people who show up regularly. You are the power behind our show, because we would not be doing this or it would not be enjoyable if you didn't show up. So share this show with your friends. Let other people know about it. Maybe even like Don Masuro did. He invited his friend Jose Cuervo to the show today. I'm not sure who that guy is and why he invited him, but invite your friends so we can get more people to participate in these conversations. So Jen, thanks a lot for agreeing to join us today. I'm trying to remind myself, when did you and I met years ago? Let's see, when was that? 2018.
Probably when I launched the business. Yeah, I was on a LinkedIn campaign. So yeah, I think we met back in 2018 when I first launched.
Look at the words you just used, LinkedIn campaign. Now that doesn't just apply to business, does it?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that was my start of business. campaigning on LinkedIn, but there's certainly, the personal career aspect. I mean, nowadays I have personal connections through LinkedIn. Like I met actual real life friends
Yeah.
through LinkedIn. So it's truly become, what once was a professional network of people has now really become that full circle, like social network.
Yeah, I'm with you. But that word campaign really smacked me because in whether or not you're driving a business or driving a career journey, campaigns are really important to think about because you just don't go do something. You put
Right.
together a plan and then you go execute the plan and then you measure it. And so that you can rinse and repeat is what I think of it as. So let's talk a little bit about this whole. We use the phrase. I don't know if I stole this from you or we collectively did it. Social seeking. Was that your term?
That was my term.
Yeah. So
yeah. So go ahead.
No, I want you to talk about it here a little bit, but let's talk a little bit first about how professional networking has changed. And you just alluded to it just now. It's significantly changing. Talk a little bit about what you see in the context of professional networking and how it's changed.
Yeah. So I think back to, when I first started as a recruiter straight out of college, there was no LinkedIn, right? And so I was really reliant on the people who sent me their resume or were sitting in my Rolodex. We all remember that term.
You mean that thing
I was
there?
really reliant. Oh, go ahead. Oh, there it is. That's so funny.
You don't have one of these on your desk anymore?
I
Just
don't,
electronic version.
I've made the conversion over to LinkedIn. But I was really reliant on that back in the day. And when LinkedIn started coming into play, I moved it over to LinkedIn, was like, all right, this is where my professional network is going to be. And in recruitment, even, I really saw that shift from being, here's the stack of resumes on my desk. These are people that I can go market to companies. And it turned into, oh, companies are telling me they need this purple squirrel, which I'm sure we've all heard the term, they want something so special, and I can get on LinkedIn, treat it like a database and go find that special thing. So networking really shifted with LinkedIn coming into play. For me as a recruiter, as well as for people, anybody, job seekers, anybody just professional networking in general. I feel like networks just really became wide open. You can search and find anybody you want. So I think the access that LinkedIn has brought has really shifted how we network today professionally.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jen, even when I did, and Mike knows this, there was a period before 2020 where I drove 30,000 miles a year just around North Carolina to network. And wow. I would meet, hundreds of people every week and collect business cards from all these people and then look at them and decide, how are they relevant to my career? How are they relevant to my business? And for me, there are two things that I did with every human I met. And I try to do this today, but it's a little trickier because I don't have a business card. But what I would do is I would take that business card and first and foremost, I would put it in my personal Google contacts, which is on my cell phone. And I had probably 5,500 people. I would put their business cards in there. To the extent today, I reached out to a lady I have not seen in 10 years. And I saw that today is her birthday. It's in my calendar for some reason. I have not talked to her in 10 years. And I called her today to wish her happy birthday. And I had her phone number in my phone.
Wow.
And the second thing I would do is, because networking in LinkedIn is so important, every time I got a business card, I would look for that person on LinkedIn and I would send them an invite with a personal note every single time. And that took my network overall, not just my LinkedIn network, my network overall, to a whole nother level. So I'm right there with you. It has been changing for years and we need to change with it and get value from it. So
yeah.
Well, I think it's a really valuable point, Ted. And I personally do I have my own personal business cards that I have made up. If you notice the QCR code in the bottom, that's my direct LinkedIn QCR. So if I give my card to someone, they can't say they can't find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So, all right, Jen, let's talk a little bit about social seeking. Okay, in the
Yeah.
context of LinkedIn. Now, there's some people in the audience who I know will get distracted. We're not talking about social seeking on Tinder or Bumble, so don't bring that into the conversation. This is about combining social media marketing and engagement during job seeking. So tell us what that definition is for you, Jen.
Yeah, so in my mind, social seeking is the idea of combining that marketing campaign, combining that marketing that you need to do in a job search with the social media aspect. So doing that online and in a social networking environment, and really making that transition from, as you talked about, the in-person events, the in-person networking that we used to do, the ways we used to find jobs, to today where you can leverage the social network to do social seeking and actually uncover opportunities online rather than what we did in person for so many years. So it's kind of that social media marketing combined with job seeking.
Now, are you referring to go to LinkedIn's job board and Indeed and Monster, Career Builders, Ladders, Simply Hired, and seeking there? Or are you talking about something a little different?
Totally different. Yeah, totally different. Good question. I'm glad you asked that, actually. So yeah, I'm actually, when I would job hunt and kind of what I built my program on, when I would job hunt, I very rarely applied to jobs online because I knew as a recruiter, I saw all the different ways people would get my attention. And the people who were applying online, usually when we got to that point where we were advertising the job, we had exhausted all of our other resources. So I knew that I was filling a lot of roles before they were ever even advertised. So when I think of going and job hunting, I really focus on trying to get ahead of that advertised job, working through the network, and applying or finding, seeking jobs that way. So it's not about chasing an advertised job. It's about getting ahead of that and using your network to seek around and find an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm with you. I refer to scouring the job boards and looking at those 15 emails you get every morning as desperately seeking. Because you don't know how to do it the other way. And when you discover how to do it the other way, it's far more rewarding to have conversations with people and uncover those hidden opportunities. And this is a great message, not just for job seekers, but for businesses. You know, the businesses that are hoping and praying to write a job ad, which I will not get on my soapbox about the mistakes that people make when they do social posting of jobs they're looking for. It looks like they wrote it in 1940 and it's still being posted in 2022. But if they think that's the best way to find a job, they're missing out, or excuse me, to find candidates, they're missing out as well, because it really is about go to your network and ask your network, who do they know that you should talk with on either side of the table?
Yeah.
You know? And
I would say too, Teddy, that even beyond go to your network, you know, nowadays with LinkedIn, one of the, I think, best practices is to continually grow your network.
Yeah.
And so I think it really used to be that networks felt like a tight-knit group. And now we're in this place where continually growing that network, you're not just focusing on some small group anymore, and you're not just limited by who you know. You can get in front of a lot of people and find a lot of opportunity. I mean, I'm here with you today. I never would have come across you in real life because I was on the West Coast, right? So the idea of networking is really, I think, expanded. And I think, you know, I love the idea that I can get online every day, talk to new people, meet new people, hear new ideas, learn of new opportunities, and everybody has that access now. It's awesome.
Yeah. You just got to be willing to go experiment with it and figure out how to make it work the best for you. For me, LinkedIn's an important place for me to hang out, but not the most important. For me, YouTube and Quora are right there, you know, neck to neck, whatever that means, with LinkedIn, because the people I meet on YouTube or the people I meet on Quora there's just as much interesting and diverse and thought-provoking conversations happening out there as well. And so, but I don't hang out on Facebook anymore as much as I used to. I don't hang out on Twitter as much as I used to. And contrary to what some of the audience might think, I'm no longer on Tinder. So, but you just got to go experiment with where is your tribe and what kind of conversations can you get into so you can grow your tribe. So let's go a little deeper then. Who's having the easiest time job hunting today? Who's getting the most success, and maybe a little insight into what are they doing differently than everyone else?
Yeah, so I would say for sure it's people that have mastered professional networking, right? Number one, first and foremost, that's still the best way to find a job. But even beyond that, again, it used to be, who do I already know? Beyond that, it's people who have now mastered the social seeking or the social networking. We just for 2 years stayed home and all we had was online to interact with people. And so there are people who have really figured out how to network online, and even more specifically, how to network for a job, which is different than just your general networking. I have plenty of people who come to me and say, hey, I've been looking for a job. I've been reaching out to my network. Nobody knows of anything. I've exhausted all of the efforts. Like, what do I do now? Yeah. And there's plenty of more steps that you can do. LinkedIn is great for job seekers, not saying there's not great people elsewhere too, but just the tools and the ways you can use LinkedIn for job search specifically makes it an awesome tool to manage and leverage a network during a job search.
Yeah. By the way, anybody have any questions or thoughts, drop them in chat. Mike will pay attention to them and bring them up to us in this conversation. We got a lot more to talk about because there's a whole lot of really cool ideas around social seeking that we can use, again, in job search and in business development. Because, Jen, I often tell people who are in job search who go, man, this job search stuff's wearing me out. I said, well, you should have my job because I'm looking for a new job every day. Every day.
Absolutely.
For a new opportunity every day, looking for a new idea. And I've learned to not consider it drudgery at all. And it really isn't drudgery for me, because really what it is, it's about an opportunity for me to have a conversation with someone new. Maybe that person needs me. Maybe I need that person. Maybe none of that applies, but I still get to have new conversations with people on a regular basis. And those people become a part of my network and a part of the solution down the road.
Yeah. So, yeah. And you never know who somebody knows.
Absolutely. So, and the other thing about that as well is that, the whole idea of networking, one of the phrases, I want you to play with this, Jen, and tell me your thoughts or how you look at this. I say this on a regular basis: stop looking for a job. Instead, look for people who play in the sandbox, maybe with the toys that you want to play with, and see who they know that they can introduce you to. How do you go about that? Well, how's that play in your world of the social seeking project you teach?
Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying. The way that I say it is, stop looking for the job and trying to squeeze yourself into whatever that job description says, and start figuring out what's important to you, who you can help, and then go tell them. So I think it's similar, right? It's still get your head around who you can help, who do you know, go tell them. And certainly it's seeking out, those in the sandbox that you want to be in.
Yeah.
So, going after them too. So with the social seeking, there's certainly strategy behind networking. There's strategy behind growing a network, growing the right network, a relevant network. There's strategy behind managing that network, staying visible to that network. There's strategy behind reaching out to people, especially in a job search. You're in a place where you need help and you're wanting to reach out for help. You would maybe have built up some relationship before you start reaching out to people for help. So there's a lot of, I think, pieces to it. I think sometimes people think it looks easy, get on LinkedIn, I need a job, I'm going to reach out to that hiring manager, I'm going to give them 3 great reasons why they should talk to me, and boom, we're going to schedule an interview. But then when they actually start doing it, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That can work some of the time, but that's not always the most efficient, most effective way to go about it and do this kind of at scale, right? Because when you're looking, you need several opportunities to pursue, not just one.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, you got something, buddy?
Yeah, I got some great questions, and I'm going to kind of put a couple of them together here that people have asked. The first one was, it used to be not to be a question of who you know, but who knows you. And the question is, we can link up with lots of people on LinkedIn. And how do you go about creating more than just a superficial network? And then the second is, the second question I'm going to muddle in there, and that is, do you just connect with everybody? Or I know Teddy has a real strong opinion on this, and I think it's pretty valid, but, who do you network, or do you joust around and really, be specific on who you network with? And so I guess that's kind of a 2-part question.
Jen?
Yeah. You want me to go first?
Please.
I think we might disagree on this, Teddy. So when you are job hunting, I think there are certain networking rules that apply. I don't know if they're rules, but there are certain techniques that you would want to use. So one would be, maybe you are creating a superficial network, but you're targeting specific people. Maybe you're bringing people into your world who you're never going to reach out to. But when you are job hunting, you need to get yourself in a room with people who are potentially working in places where you want to be. Like Teddy said earlier about the sandbox. Yeah. So one of the strategies would be, pick a target company, connect with people at the target company, go from there. I have several steps on how to actually get a foot in the door. But in terms of answering the question of like building a superficial network, perhaps there are some people that you're bringing in who you never talk to. However, I don't view it as superficial, because they are in places where you want to be. They are in a place where you can bring value. If you were to strike up a conversation with any of them, it's not about help me get a job. It's about, hey, I am interested in your company. You're my target company. Here's how I could help your company. So I view it a little bit differently for job hunting specifically.
And I'm with you, Jen. I don't have any disagreement with that at all. One of the things I do is, what Mike might be referring to, is that every single time I connect with somebody, I immediately engage with them. Now, my level of engagement is directly proportional to their relevance to my goal. So if they work for a company that I want to do work with, or if they are a hiring manager, or in my case, if they're the sales leader, I'm going to pick the phone up and I'm going to call them. But if they're not highly relevant to my business or my career goals, they may get a LinkedIn message. But I'm going to invest my time engaging with the people who are the most relevant to my goal. But I'm not going to ignore the others, because I don't want to create an overly superficial LinkedIn network.
Yeah. So in my mind, not everything has to happen in the inbox. So I post every day. People comment on that stuff. So I may have people who I engage with in public that I never talk to privately. Same with my clients. So there is, in my mind, I don't feel the need to privately message everyone. I'm selective and specific, and recommend this for clients too. Selective and specific on who you reach out to and what you ask for. So that's kind of that network management piece. But yeah, I don't message everybody. And, I'll see other people, especially if they're at a target company, they post something, you better believe I'm going to engage on that post, whether I know them or not. And I don't mean that I'm not doing that in a superficial way. I'm going to get some value out of that post, or, engage in some kind of conversation with them. So I'm genuine in that regard. When I do engage with people, it is genuine, and I'm not, advising job seekers to only engage to get what they want. Again, it's about the value you can bring.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's sometimes it frustrates me when I see people engaging on LinkedIn in a very superficial way. And you wonder, why are they doing that? Why did they? And actually, I know for a fact that there are organizations out there that this work is outsourced to. And so all they're trying to do is get your name to pop up all over the place. So they'll show up and say, congratulations, insightful, appreciate it, to diverse, irrelevant content. And that, I think, can diminish or tarnish your brand. So,
yeah, I agree. One of the things I do pretty regularly now is anybody who comments on my posts, I once a week will go through them, pull up their profiles, see if they're posting, and comment back on their stuff, because everybody loves engagement on their posts. So, that's something I do. I may never have a private conversation with that person, but kind of returning that favor of them commenting on my stuff. So
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Engagements where I call that's the secret sauce. Mike, you got another one?
We got lots of good questions today. Donald was asking, because of COVID and inability to travel internationally, what's the best way to build up your international network on LinkedIn?
In my mind, there's no barriers.
Yeah.
I would do the very same thing. I do always recommend for job search specifically that you are being targeted and specific. So I would pick those countries or those places where you are interested in being. If you're looking for job search, an international network for a job hunt. Actually just had this conversation with a client yesterday, but we're narrowing that down a bit and then connecting with people in those locations. You can even pick target companies in those locations and use the advanced filters, search for company people, and then search for people in the location at that target company. So knowing how to leverage those advanced filters is something that can really help grow and build a network in other places.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jen. I don't think there is any big variance in my networking, my engaging, my prospecting based on geography. Now I'm going to focus on specific locations. I'm not going to search and engage globally, but yeah, international to me it's just they're categorized in another community, another state, another country, and that doesn't make any difference to me, except when I can't speak their language, and then I got a problem. And
That's a problem.
so yeah, no
I've
barriers.
got a client right now. He's in Angola,
Yeah,
and our biggest issue is that he has to talk to me at 9 o'clock at night, his time, and it's been no problem whatsoever. But same strategy, same activities happen all around the world, everywhere on LinkedIn.
I get it. Mike, before we take a break, any other question you got, a little one we tackle?
Yeah, Lisa asked, how do you promote groups on LinkedIn? How can you do a better job of promoting groups?
Or maybe using groups?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you have an idea?
So I do have a private group on LinkedIn for job seekers. I have tried several things over the years. I think right now the best you can really do is continually bring new people into the group, continue to be a conversation starter in that group, remind them to turn on that bell so that they get notifications in the group. And I do an extra once a week, I will put something in the group and I can push out one notification a week on a post to everybody in the group. So I push out that notification. So if you're talking in terms of managing a group, those are ways to do it. If you're talking in terms of being a group member or trying to leverage people within a group, that to me looks really tough right now, because I'm noticing LinkedIn is putting those, if you're messaging anybody who you're in a group with and you're not connected with, LinkedIn is putting them in a separate inbox. Mm-hmm. And they have to kind of approve to accept your message. Yeah. So I've not found a great way to message people from groups who you're not already connected to. So what I'm doing is actually incorporating the connection strategy through people in, certain professional groups that are in places where you want to be. So it's first connecting, and then it's just the not engagement, it's the connection strategy that I have, and working with them from there. So I don't really fool with the group itself too much nowadays.
Yeah, I'm with you. The value of groups has diminished significantly over time. So I tell people don't put too much effort into getting value out of groups. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's you're on Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy. Our special guest today is Jen Morris. Our sub co-host is Mr. Mike Brock. Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy has the elder law firm supporting us. I love this phrase, who's important to you and how you plan to honor your responsibilities to them is important to the elder law firm as well. So if you want to get help on ideas about how to do estate planning, how to help your that generation above you protect themselves and prepare for elder care, support, et cetera, reach out to the elder law firm, 336-396-4551. Hey, Mike. It's 12:30, and so far I've done well on the show without Randy.
We had a good pinch hitter.
That's right. Yeah, I'm with you. So,
I was using a baseball term for Randy.
Yeah, I appreciate you filling in for us. So
glad to help.
Jen, social seeking. Talk a little bit about why does it work so well?
Yeah. So when you think about, again, the networks being wide open now, one of the things, if you're using a social seeking strategy, one of the things that you can do, and this is kind of something to do throughout your career, not just when job hunting, but one of the things you can do is build relationships really quickly today. You know, I have people, I'm constantly bringing new people into my world. Some of those people might need my services right away. They might see a post that I put up and they reach out immediately. Same thing with my clients. They start bringing people from their target companies into their world. Just last week, I had a client, she started doing that at target companies. 2 companies reached out to her before she ever applied, ever did anything, and said, hey, we want to interview you. Are you looking for a job? Because she doesn't even have the green banner on. She's not done any of that. So the reason social seeking works so well is because you can attract people and pull them to you and attract, you know, people who are out there hunting for someone like you right now. And you can do the other thing and put yourself out in certain places. So there's this push and pull that you can get through social seeking. I also believe with the social seeking and the framework that I use, there is some pre-work to do for it. So, you know, I talked about the idea of you knowing who you can help and going out there and telling them. That takes some pre-work, some work up front, right? You've got to get specific in who you can help, who are you going to approach, what are you going to say, how are you going to say it? So I believe that, and part of the framework I teach is that foundational work. And oftentimes nowadays, if you're just using the job boards, many are skipping that work and they're just saying, okay, let me update my resume. This is all the stuff I've done. Let me go find some jobs that look interesting. I'll apply and see what happens. And it's just not clicking because we're in a world today where everything is so specific. You know, I want that purple squirrel. I want to hire the purple squirrel. And if you don't look like that purple squirrel on paper or on your LinkedIn profile, nobody's going to talk to you anymore. You know, back when you were sitting in my Rolodex, we didn't have much to go on, so everybody would talk to everybody. But nowadays, when we have so much access to people, you've got to entice them first before they agree to talk to you. So doing that pre-work, I think, is really what's helping, what also helps social seeking work a lot better. Just knowing yourself a bit more.
I'm with you. And I think this whole idea of social seeking and teaching people to, you know, to build their brand online, present themselves appropriately, engage appropriately, and network appropriately. Not only is that highly relevant to job seekers, but also to talent acquisition, to hiring managers, recruiters, you know, to be very deliberate about being out there so people can see you and discover who you are and maybe want to find a way to start that conversation with you and see how I can help mutually beneficial. The dude wrote the book, Networking for Mutual Benefit. It's not all about me, and it applies in this whole world as well. So social seeking how can that help you eliminate the whole job search thing altogether? Or can it?
So this is an interesting concept, right? Never have to look for a job again. Have them just come to you. So guys, there's social recruiting right now. There are, as Teddy just said, part of the social seeking system that I created was from the idea of how does social recruitment work? How was I leveraging LinkedIn as a recruiter back in the day? And now how can I get job seekers to position themselves to pop up in those recruiter searches, to pop up in the advanced searches, so that reverse engineering it is definitely a part. Then what follows is look at us now. So right now we're in a job seekers market. Recruiters are out there hungry for talent. They are having trouble finding people. Now, some people look at me like I'm crazy because they're like, we're all looking for jobs. Why can't they find us? But what's happening is there's so many people inundating these advertised jobs that it's hard to get noticed when you're among hundreds of people applying. Mm-hmm. And recruiters, from a recruiter standpoint, I used to get hundreds of applications and most of them didn't look like the right fit. Again, I don't have time to talk to hundreds of people. So we're kicking them kind of out before perhaps we could learn that they could be a good fit. So the idea of recruiters being out there hunting for the right talent, recruiters avoiding wanting to post and advertise a job because then it turns into a mountain of work. Whereas if I were a recruiter and I could go find the right people and get a small candidate pool, very manageable that way. Mm-hmm. So recruiters are out there social recruiting. If you have yourself positioned well, you should be top of mind with the right recruiters in your industry. You should be visible on LinkedIn, right? So if you have recruiters in your network, you're gonna stay top of mind with them if you're doing social seeking. And you should have that profile always equipped to showcase your skills and attract people to you. So part of that too, part of the social seeking framework is bringing people into your world consistently. So always in the back of your mind, have those target companies, always be connecting with people at your target companies. Opportunities come to you. I can tell you for years now, the way that I get business is people coming to me. I don't message people. I don't pop in the inbox saying, hey, looks like you might be a job seeker. Can I help? It's all attraction marketing. Mm-hmm. Social seeking is the very same thing. It's attracting people to you. Now, there is an aspect of getting a foot in the door to target companies. So there is some push, but there's a lot of pull that can happen, especially if you're working, you don't have the time to do the push. I have plenty of clients who are in that situation who are pulling opportunities to them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you do have to position yourself in such a way that the door is more open for people to come get you. And that does take work. It does take effort to get there. And Jen, Margaret is on LinkedIn Live, and she just asked this question. What are some good actions to take when you were one of many who has been laid off from a particular company with the same kind of roles? And so there's 20 people who all look like the same duck walking out of this company who are looking for the same jobs. How can you better position yourself in that context?
Yeah, so I don't worry about the competition. I worry about who am I the best fit for? Who can I go out there and help? Who am I going to target? And then I target those people. So everybody else has whatever network they have. Sure, you have similar skill sets, but who are you targeting and who are you putting yourself in front of? And how are you talking about the value you can bring? The other 19 people might be out there saying, hey, I need a job. Let me know if you can help. Hey, I need a job. Do you know of anything? I want you out there saying, this is who I can help. This is what I just spent my time doing. And then go find those companies and get that message out to them.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jen. 1 second, Mike, we'll get Don's question.
No worries.
Jen, I've been saying for years, stop telling people you're looking for a job. Instead, simply tell them who you are and what you love to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a note. and I mention this to everyone, don't brand yourself as a job seeker and let that be your selling point.
Yeah.
No company's hiring you because you're looking for a job,
Yeah.
right? They're hiring you because of what you can come in and help them do.
Yeah.
If I were on LinkedIn constantly talking about how hard it is to find clients, would anybody care? No, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if I'm on there saying, here's some solutions and ways to find a job, oh, well, then people come to me, hey, she can help me. It's the same thing for job seekers.
Yeah. And Cindy asked earlier, how do you network on YouTube? And YouTube and Quora are two really cool spaces for me. One of the ways that I network on YouTube is I go look for content that's similar to me and similar to what I do. And I look at the comments on it and I'll add value. Now I won't if the guy gave an answer and I think it's a class B answer, I won't try to do a class A answer. I won't try to upstage the guy, or the lady, whoever it is, but I will get involved in the conversation and offer my answer. And I've discovered by engaging on YouTube videos and Quora questions, I'm creating a whole nother channel like LinkedIn of people who are like-minded to me, who may be interested in me, and it has driven some pretty cool conversations. I've gotten business that way. So yeah, it's all about the engagement, the conversation, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, or Quora. So, hey, Mike, you got another question?
Got a couple questions. And this may be a short answer. If someone is job seeking, should they click the button that says, that highlights their picture, it says they're seeking a job? I've been told don't do that.
Yeah, so there's two beliefs on this. One is, yes, do it because it raises visibility to your network that you are looking. The other belief is don't do it because there are hiring managers or companies out there who believe that if you are job hunting, that you might be desperate and would potentially just accept a job simply because you need a job and not because you really want it. And so the red flag goes up of, are we going to be able to retain this person? I have seen people do both ways and be successful either way they go. So I always say, first and foremost, do what you are most comfortable with, that you feel is going to bring you the best result. I don't discourage it, but I also don't require anybody to do it either. So do what you are most comfortable with. Not to skate out on an answer, I'll tell you how I would do it personally. I would not use the green banner because I know I have a system where I can get myself in front of the people who I want to know that I'm job hunting. And I know, really well how to position that and go and tell people. So I personally would not use it myself, but you do what you're comfortable with. Yeah. What's your advice on that, Teddy?
I'm with you, Jen. I am not a fan of it. I know it can create value for the right people. First of all, I would never turn on that I'm looking for a job just for LinkedIn recruiter licenses, because there's not enough of the right people using that. I don't think it creates enough advantage. Secondly, I won't do the green banner either, because I think I have a rich network and I can get into almost any conversation I want to get into. However, I know people who have turned it on and have networked. I have a sister who's done this. She turned that thing on, then she started networking like a wild woman in the sandbox that she wants to play in. And somebody reached out to her and said, I noticed you're looking for a job. Let's talk. Yeah. So it can work. So
yeah, I call it like the green scarf.
yeah. So let's see, where do we want to go to here now? Do we miss any questions you want to queue up, Mike?
I've got one more. This person asked, they've helped a lot of people, in networking, and they find the lack of appreciation from those they help. And the question was, what is your favorite way of showing appreciation for people to help you in your network?
Beer and cigars. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to say that out loud.
I don't think you were asked the question, but yeah. I know how that works for you, Teddy. Yeah, beer and cigars.
That's always a home run, right? Yeah, I mean, if it's just, online appreciation, In my mind, I always tell my clients, anybody who's helped you, keep them in the loop on how that's gone, whether they've made an introduction, got you an interview at a company, whatever, referred you, hey, check this company out, and it's gone somewhere. So I get them in the habit of circling back to people that have helped them. For me personally, if I have people referring business my way, or just people that I'm engaging with who, I give them a quick tip, or vice versa. Teddy gives me tips here and there, but I try and engage on their content, or I'm always saying thank you, I learned this, or commenting on posts. I also put a lot of what I would consider high value content out on LinkedIn, and I hope that me delivering that consistently is a way of helping my network, bringing something to the table beyond, hey, can you help me find a job or find more clients? So I think I do it in a number of ways, but I don't think any of them are better than Teddy's.
Beer and cigars. Yeah.
The neat thing, Jen, is that there are lots of ways to scan a cat. Now, I want to know who did that research, but besides that, there's lots of different ways to, build your network, build your brand, get into conversations, engage with people, and try to get people into the right conversations with you. So there's not any one answer. Now, as you know, and Mike knows this, and I think I know this as well, there are many wrong ways to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, the worst thing you can do, that would be, for me, the biggest mistake would be to start by making the conversation all about you.
Yeah.
That will fail miserably.
Yeah. And that goes right back to the, who can you help? How can you help them? Go talk about that. So stop talking about yourself and what you need. Talk about who you can help and how you can help them.
You've probably seen this as well. The resumes and the LinkedIn profiles that are written that are, basically glorious over vetting statements. It's like, me, who used to see me? I got all these certs. I've been doing this for 30 years. And I look at that and go, oh my God, a moment of prayer. Because that just doesn't work.
I judge a resume.
Everything has its time and place.
If I judge a resume on how many times they use the word I in the resume.
None of my resumes use I don't write them in first person.
Well, a lot of people do. I've read hundreds of resumes, and maybe not thousands like you, but hundreds. And I hear this, well, I did this, and I accomplished that. And, I see more than one or twos, then that usually is a major turnoff. I know the resume is to focus on your accomplishments, but you didn't do them all by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Which now I want to segue into a question. And I know a lot of people do apply to jobs on LinkedIn when, obviously they're looking for the purple square. And one of the things that we notice is that sometimes the company just puts it out there, but a lot of times a recruiter puts it out there, or somebody, the HR person at the company puts it there. So the question is, you see it, you apply for it online, but do you reach out to that person then to connect, say, hey, I saw this really cool, advertisement about this particular job. Can you tell me more about it? And try to establish a conversation with that person, or is that one going to go in the trash most of the time too?
So that is a very commonly used tactic that worked 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Because it's so commonly used now, I don't think it works as well as it used to. So in my world, we are not going cold calling any recruiter or hiring manager trying to get some of their time or circumvent the process that they've already put into place with a job that's advertised.
Yeah, I'm with you. First of all, I recommend people not reach out to the HR or the recruiter. That is not the person you want to talk with. You want to talk with the person who has the problem. The person who has the need. And the best way to reach out to that person is through an introduction. So if you're building your LinkedIn network right, connecting with people who play in the sandbox, then I can ask Mike Brock to introduce me to that dude I want to talk with. I can reach out to Jen and say, Jen, I want to find out what Steve's really trying to solve with this position. Would you introduce me to him so I can understand what he's really trying to solve? Maybe I know somebody he needs to know. Maybe that's me. But yeah, man, there's so many old school tactics people are still using today. Teddy, I'm trying to build my LinkedIn network with people who are like-minded thought leaders like you. I'd like to have you in my network. Really? So anyway,
I get lots of those.
all day long, all day long. All right, so here's another big one before we get wrap up here. How do you leverage LinkedIn as a career building tool? And we talked about it in lots of different ways, but how do you, what are some other tips you have for leveraging LinkedIn for your career building, even when you have a job, Jen?
Even when you're not job hunting. Yeah. So it's still number one, do not brand yourself as a job seeker. Don't let that be your selling point. So what it is, it's continuing to have that profile updated where you're marketing and showcasing your skill set and what you can do and how you can help other companies, or how you're helping your current company. Keep that profile up to date. So I make it a habit of updating my profile quarterly, recommend the same for clients. So you're continuously showing what is current about you and what you can help or who you can help and what you can do. Second part would be continuously growing that network. Again, keep, your dream target companies, keep that as a running list and continue to bring new people into your world and continue to get yourself in places where they are, get yourself into conversations with them, whether you're looking or not, continue to do that. And certainly continue to engage on LinkedIn, nurturing relationships while also building new ones is going to put you in that place of not having to do the cold outreach because you haven't talked to somebody in 15 years or because you haven't built the network and now you don't know anybody. And I get a lot of people who say, oh, well, my whole network's retired now. It's all dried up. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Everybody still knows someone. So as long as they're still alive, we've still got a chance here, guys. But it's continuing to engage and nurture relationships and build new ones over time. So I use LinkedIn for all of those things regularly and continually am surprised at the opportunities that come my way, even with me being positioned as an entrepreneur in my own business working with job seekers. I still get requests for recruiting for roles. I still get requests I have an online university that I work with and help them with their mid-career changers. So there's just tons of opportunities that come that I've never considered or would have pursued on my own, but because I stay visible, because I grow the network, because I'm out there, they just come my way. So I feel anybody in a professional career can benefit greatly just from staying engaged on the platform. I mean, even if you're doing 15 minutes a day, do something, an hour a week, whatever you can do, but don't let it slack.
I'm with you. So Jen, this is great. I really appreciate you showing up today and sharing with us. Thank you very much for coming in. Mike, do you have a story that Jen helped you remind yourself of?
Actually, she did. We talked about the basics of networking and how powerful, and to some that's become kind of a trite thing to say. Well, it's about networking. Well, really, that's all about. In several years, I was in a significant job search, and they say you're only 5 people away from knowing the president, whether it's your favorite or not, but you're only 5 people away from knowing the president. And I found an extremely good job because I talked to a friend of mine who gave me a referral to a friend of his, and she gave me a referral to a friend of hers, and she gave me a friend to a referral of hers. And that's 4 down the list. That 4th person happened to be a high-level recruiter. And she reached out to me after we got things going. Next thing you know, I landed a really nice job. So it sounds real simplistic, but ultimately it's building that network, and it does take time. Like Jen said, it takes time to manage that. They call that the garden of contacts, or your garden of relationships. And you gotta get rid of the weeds and move things around and plant good seed. And so anyway, yeah, it's just simple networking. And there's millions of cases of people that knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who got a good job because of that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I have plenty of client stories like that too, Mike. Like, I know it's like a broken record of it's all about networking, but it truly is. And when you are job hunting, I think there's some really specific techniques for job hunting. I'm sorry, for networking for a job that are a little bit different. But you can move those things quickly nowadays with LinkedIn. I mean, I can go search right now, find somebody and get in a conversation real fast. So yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And LinkedIn's great for people who are not as outgoing. It's you know what I mean? It's good for the introvert as well. Sorry, Ted, go ahead.
Yeah. Michael, I'm with you. I use this statement, the old 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
6 degrees. That's so old school. It's 3 degrees. It's 3 degrees if you do it right. Or maybe it takes 4 steps, but it doesn't need to be 6 or 7 steps away. Hey, here's before we talk about our special guest for next week, which is going to be really a cool conversation as well. Let me tell you my story. I studied Dale Carnegie for years, and I use Dale Carnegie philosophies in almost everything I do. And I also, you hear me say this on a regular basis. I'm gonna tell you where this came from. You hear me say, you want to get in the sandbox or find the people in the sandbox who may be playing with your toys. That's what you want to be doing every day. Find people who are in the same sandbox, playing with the same toys. I watched this happen at a playground. I watched this sandbox of 4 or 5 kids. And this one little kid ran to his mommy and said, he's playing with the truck I want to play with. And his mom said, well, just be patient. Eventually he'll stop playing with it. And you can play with it. I watched this little boy in about a 10-minute period move where he is seated and sit closer and closer to the other little boy of that truck. And when he got right beside that little boy at the truck, he waited his turn and the kid got up and he snagged the truck. Find the people who play in the sandbox, who play with the toys you want to play with, and get as close to them as you can. And you can find a way to strike up a conversation. It really does work. And by the way, towards that end, never, ever, ever turn down a conversation. That could be a huge missed opportunity. Someone says they want to talk with you. You want to know what they want to talk about. And if it's anywhere near relevant to you, get into the conversation. People say this on a regular basis. I'm not going to take the job because I got to relocate. Well, you don't know you need to relocate. You don't know what they're going to offer you. They'll say, I'm not taking that job because of whatever reason. Well, no one has offered you the job at this point. So have the conversation so you can discover the opportunity. The reason why I personally saw this happen, there was a lady named Zhang who lives in Fort Mills, South Carolina. I was coaching her in career transition years ago. Someone offered her a job in Chicago and invited her to an interview. She says, Teddy, I'm not going to the interview because I'm not going to relocate. I said, go to the interview. They asked you to come up there. They're paying for it. Go do it. Have a conversation. They gave her an offer that she did not want to refuse, but her husband did. So they did not relocate. A month later, she gets invited to Cincinnati, Ohio for another really cool job. She says, Teddy, should I go? I'm not going to relocate. Take the conversation. She went to Cincinnati. She had the conversation. She got another opportunity that she did not want to refuse, but it did not meet the needs of her family. So she politely thanked them and declined. Well, here's where the value happened. These two people know each other. A wastewater treatment plant in Chicago and a wastewater treatment plant in Cincinnati. And interestingly enough, they know a dude in Fort Mills, South Carolina, who needs the same person. They told that person about the lady that turned them down and she got her job. Never turn down a conversation. Jen, am I right? Is that a part of your practices?
Totally. Yeah. I remember when I was young, I was interviewing and told my dad, they want me to relocate and, I'm not going to move forward. And he goes, well, what if they offered you $1 million? Would you relocate? And I was like, oh, well, yeah. And he's like, well, then keep moving forward. So yeah, very same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Jen, again, thank you very much for pitching
Thank
in.
you.
Mike, thanks for being covering for us today. I really
My
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Next week, our special guest is another repeat special guest. It's Lisa Lamb with NC Works. Lisa's going to come to the show. She's bringing a gentleman by the name of Justin Tank. The conversation is going to be really interesting because they're going to talk about not only the value NC Works provides to job seekers, but the value that NC Works provides to local businesses. So join us next week with Lisa Lamb and Justin Tank from NC Works. And thank you everybody for showing up. We appreciate all of you. Again, Mike, Jen, have a great day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.